Hey Patty, while you're doing that, can maybe not everybody, but a couple folks can just say what campus their kids are at.
Johnson.
I'll start. I'll go. Baker.
Johnson.
MCP, Mission College Prep, Wood.
Mansueto High School and Johnson College Prep.
Okay, very good. We see a couple people in the chat. UIC, Pritzker.
Gary Comer.
Two parents from Baker.
Hansberry.
All right.
I'm a teacher at Hansberry.
Okay. Hey, Hansberry. Hey, UIC and Baker. We see Butler. We see DRW, ITW.
Parents from College Prep.
Okay. Anybody from TNA?
Yes, I'm here from TNA.
All right. Represent. Okay. Sounds good. Anybody from the OC? Okay. What about Golder? Any Golder parents in the house? Okay. All right, Ms. Bill, you ready?
But anybody from the OC. Okay. I was going to say Orange County, but.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Can everybody hear me? Okay.
Yes.
So we're going to use our reactions. We're going to come off mute. We're going to engage tonight. And I thank you all for your participation in advance. So as I mentioned in the beginning, there are many ways for you to engage with your community and elected officials. We often talk about going to ward nights or band trips or to Springfield or to the Board of Education board meetings. And all of those are great opportunities to leverage your voice. We don't want to limit the way that you as a parent have the opportunity to advocate for your schools or community. So we will be sharing many opportunities and examples for you to share your story, no matter what your time looks like. So why advocacy at all? Why is it important to leverage your voice as a parent? Can I get a parent or two to come off mute and share why it's important to leverage their voice?
I will.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Velasquez.
So it's very important for parents to advocate for their students as well as other students as what we feel is unnecessary or what we feel is necessary. I just like with this whole remote learning thing, and this is my biggest issue, is Zoom sucks, and I'm just gonna say that. My daughter had, like, every time the semester changes, she cannot get into class. Like, I'm still having issues. We can't get her into certain classes, but she can get into other ones. And then I call and I email and I do this and I do that, but I still get the same responses. Oh, well, they have to authenticate their account. Well, if she's able to get into other classes, but not these classes, like, what's the issue? So that's why I feel that parents need to really advocate for their kids. Like, I'm on top of it with mine. Even with my CPS kids, like I reach out to teachers. I don't care. I need my kids to they can't get C's. They need to get B's and A's. That's what I require.
Absolutely.
So I just feel that parents need to be more involved, and they need to look at, if you can't be there sitting with your kid during this whole thing that's going on, like, just because you can't be there, you can help them with their homework. You can help them with whatever work that they need help with. And if you can't, then, like, I can't help my kids sometimes, but I'll reach out to somebody else that can help me. So it's very important to be an advocate for your kid.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody else?
Yes. I agree with a lot of what she said.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's important to advocate for your child because you have your child's best interest as far as education. And if you have a say-so, that means it keeps you in the loop of everything that's going on with your child in school. And you get, like, firsthand what's going on, as opposed to waiting until a letter comes home saying whatever with your child. Because I've been in that situation where by me working, I will hear something that went on with my child 3 months ago. So I had to get involved. I have 4 children in 4 different schools, and I'm involved in all 4 schools. And that's from my 18-year-old down to my 4-year-old.
Wow.
And I just like, I'm bouncing from meeting to meeting. I was at the meeting at 5 and I'm in this meeting at 6. But I make sure that I know what's going on and that I ask all the questions that need to be asked. And I get my, not just me advocating for my kids, but to teach them to advocate for themselves as well. Because if I'm not there and something happens, you can advocate for yourself because you know your rights, especially the kids that's in special education. If they don't know their own rights, then in some of these schools, they do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to make sure that mine are being taken care of the way they're supposed to, and that other children are being taken care of, because they have some schools where I can be a parent advocating for my child, but I see something going on with somebody else's child and their parents are not there. So it's not just us advocating for our kids, but advocating for all the kids in the school, because some kids might not have anybody advocating for them. I don't think it's just us being advocates for our own kids, but being advocates as parents, period.
That
Absolutely.
is really true. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but that is really true too. Sorry.
Absolutely. So decisions are being made every single day that affect your child's education, with or without you in the room. Decisions about funding, who gets it, how much, decisions about facilities, will your student school get repairs, and decisions about freedoms. Do teachers and principals have the ability to do what they do best, teach? So it's super important to make sure you are able to share your opinion as a parent. Next, we'll share some examples of different ways to communicate with your elected officials about how you feel about an issue using your voice. What is the secret to advocacy? Your story. Telling your story. Each and every one of you have a unique experience, perspective, and insight that can aid in advocacy for various purposes. Sharing your story can potentially be a game changer in the way someone sees a certain topic. Your story can create change, and it is very powerful. Oftentimes, people find it challenging to tell other people about themselves. Today, we are going to try an exercise that can begin to lay the foundation of concise storytelling. You may not have a great amount of time to speak with an elected official or in meetings, so it's important to dive in to what's really important to defining your story. So the first thing I want you all to do in the chat box, I want you to type 3 words to describe yourself. Just 3 words to describe yourself. Okay. So we got parent, educator, advocate, bold, outspoken, no nonsense, outspoken and direct parent, energetic, outspoken advocate. So I'm seeing a theme with some advocates in this chat. Okay. Yes, yes. Conscientious, detail oriented, loving, hardworking, aware. Absolutely. Thank you all. Yes, yes. Thank you for sharing and keep them coming. So the next thing is type 3 words to describe your noble experience.
I have a question on that.
Okay.
So do we type our noble experience pre-COVID or after COVID?
Well, I
Because I
mean,
can go both ways. They're going to be different answers.
understand. So we would like it to be a positive um, viewpoint, just 3 words. Like if you were advocating from an advocacy standpoint, if you were,
Well, like from my point of view, like
Mhm.
even with COVID, like if I reach out to the principal or I reach out to the school or the advisor, like normally they always call me back or they always email me back about issues. So, but some teachers lately haven't been responding. So And then this whole Zoom thing, like, it sucks. So what am I supposed to
Oh,
put for
I mean, we're gonna embrace that you have been positive, Ms. Velasquez. You have been patient. You have been patient.
But my patience is wearing
Well,
thin.
today and previous to this, you have been patient, and we are gonna embrace that, right?
Okay.
So you've been patient, you've been positive, and you've been gracious. You've been giving grace that we're all going through a difficult time, and that in that, it takes a little bit more ingenuity in the way that we interact and the way that we look at how, the big picture. Like, you're having something going on, it's a lot of people having things going on, and so
Yeah.
and understand that that does not go unnoticed, you
Okay.
know and so, from that standpoint, absolutely, just share how you're feeling. That's what we're here to do. But like I said, we're gonna take a positive standpoint and be very transparent in this space. So let's go
Well,
through
I
some.
mean, I only think positive of Noble, period. It doesn't matter.
That's awesome.
I just say that Zoom just sucks. That's fine.
And I
But
totally
everything else is positive. So I'm going to go ahead and chat it. Thank
okay.
you.
Thank you. So, community, challenging in a good way, advantageous, supportive, compassionate, family oriented. So we're seeing some themes of family, um, support. All of those things are things that resonate with people, that they can connect to, that we can share in our stories and cultivate those emotional connections with the community at large, that we can make those connections that people feel they want to support, and that's an environment that they're willing to step in and to help out. So methods of verbal advocacy include storytelling, speaking at board meetings, phone calls, conversations with elected officials. And through that simple exercise that we just did, those 3 words, we already started sharpening your advocacy tools, specifically around storytelling. We're going to go into more detailed description of what verbal advocacy could possibly look like from past events, keeping in mind that this list is not exhaustive. So, no matter how you're advocating, storytelling is the biggest piece of advocacy. Your voice matters. Storytelling is simply defined as the activity of telling or writing stories. But what I want to focus on today is the power in that activity. You are your child's biggest advocate, and your vantage point is heavily weighted in the creation and installation of policies that impact school systems everywhere. Here are a few questions that you can ask yourselves to help craft your story at Noble. What is your Noble story? How have you engaged with the school community? How has your experience with Noble positively impacted your family? What should people know? At the end of our breakout room, we'll talk more about lunch and learns, which are an opportunity to sharpen this tool in your advocacy toolbox. In general, when there's an opportunity to share your story at Noble, our team will reach out to you. However, you may also need to share your story in other areas of your life, work, or in your neighborhood, or in other places. Take a minute to think about these questions. You can even write them down if you need to. And at the end of this little minute that we're going to take a minute to think about, I want you to answer one of these questions. So I'll give you a minute to read over the questions and think about it. And so if anybody would like to share, you can come off mute. And during that time that the story is being shared, I want everybody to be an active listener and to use your reactions to give support, to engage, and to just resonate with what they're saying.
Yeah, I'd like to share. I'm going to answer this as how has your experience with Noble positively impacted your family? I want to say it's actually exceeded my expectations. My children have gone to charter school since they're in elementary school. My son just started Noble as a freshman a year or so ago, so he's now a sophomore. During that time, right before we came out to the pandemic, unfortunately, one of his friends passed away. And I had a different feel for the school. I've had experience with CPS as well, and I noticed how they weren't as attentive as ITW was, because he is at ITW. The whole school mobilized. I mean, from the principal to the teachers, they were very supportive with all the children who attended. Even during the beginning phases of COVID, they did allow children to come into the school and talk to specific counselors and social workers. It was not just one or two, and I've had this experience even myself growing up in CPS. It wasn't just one or two. They had over 13, and it was not just from ITW, it was from all Noble schools that actually mobilized and came to the campus and helped the children out. So to me, it actually enhanced my whole view of not just ITW, but Noble and how important charter schools are, because I have had them be in CPS and move them to charter for the same reason. This just increased the positive impact or the positive view I had of charter and Noble and obviously ITW.
Thank you so much for sharing. I really, really appreciate that. And just that, I mean, I appreciate your vulnerability and transparency and that you had that experience and that it was positive, because like you mentioned, it could have gone a, a, a very different way. And so that's great. Thank you so much for sharing. Anybody else?
Of course, me.
Hi,
Oh, is somebody else on?
my name's Sylvia Garcia. Is that okay? Can I go?
Yes, sure. Thank you.
Thank you. My name's Sylvia Garcia, parent of a sophomore at UIC. I think what people should know, and to the mom who just last spoke, I can relate. My children have always been in charter schools. I think what people should know is that our children, especially in our Black and Brown communities, deserve more. And by more, I mean more options. If your neighborhood school is working for you, that's awesome. If your child is able to get into elective enrollment, that's amazing. If you're able to afford Catholic school, good, right? I think what people should know is that Noble is just another one of our options that we as citizens of the city deserve and want for our children. And some of us are very happy with having that choice. I've been a big, huge advocate of choice for many, many years, so which is why my children have always attended a charter school. Actually, my daughter got accepted into CPS, but even that was a different experience. I really, really am a huge advocate for choice. Nobody but you and your family knows what is best for that child when you're getting ready to pick that school from kindergarten to high school. It's not the politicians, it's not the teachers, it's not your neighbors, it's who you know your child and what fits their needs. So to have these options, I think people should know that it's okay. All these wars that go on the TV with CTU and CPS and whatnot, it's at the end of the day, it's my choice. And I should be able to choose what I think is best for my children. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Yeah, here I am, Miss
Yes,
B.
Ms. Velasquez.
I just want to say, Miss Valenzuela, I'm sorry if I didn't say that correctly. My deepest condolences to you and your family for your
Thank you.
friend. Me, I'm just going to give you my experience. My daughter started Noble Baker in 9th grade, and I love it. It's absolutely amazing. Now, my other 3 kids do go to CPS. And the thing I like about Noble is parents get to voice their opinion and they get to say, hey, I don't like this and I don't like that. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to get changed. CPS does not do that. And I think that's why I like Noble so much. I mean, I'm from Vegas, so I just moved here a few years ago. But when my daughter wanted to go to high school, she wanted to go to Shy Arts or Noble, and she didn't get into Shy Arts, so she's like, "Well, I'm gonna go to Noble, mommy. I'm gonna go." So, but I've had nothing but good experiences with them. I'm a part of the PAC group. Obviously, I'm part of the parent leadership group because I'm here. Um, and I'm just a very outspoken mom. Like I don't have a problem with asking questions, saying, "Hey, you know what? What about this? What about that?" I I'm not one to hold my tongue. And that's why I like Noble so much is because you guys allow us to speak for our kids and advocate for them, whereas CPS doesn't. But like for my son who's in first grade, Noble doesn't offer a elementary school that I know of. Um, it's all high school and middle school. So um, I would love for my kids to go to a charter school, all of them, but some of them can't. Some of them can. And I just feel that Noble has done a great job, but as far as this whole remote learning thing, I think they need to switch over and go to Google Classmates because here's the thing the teachers send the assignments in Google Classrooms, yet the kids are required to log into a Zoom, which my daughter has an issue every semester. And then when I call the school, I call the teachers. Oh, she has to authenticate her account. She's already authenticated it. She's been in several classes and some of them she can't get into. So it's starting to get really frustrating for me as a parent. And I've already spoken with our principal, I've spoken with all of the teachers, I've done all that. And I feel that Baker is a high school and kids are going to adjust right away because they're older. And if they can know how to maneuver Xbox, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, YouTube, then they should be able to maneuver from Zoom to Google Meets.
Thank you so much, Ms. Velasquez, for your feedback and for everybody that shared your stories. Thank you. Thank you very much. Um, so these are some of our different events that we have had parents participate in the past. This is a parent sharing feedback at the student code of conduct session, and it went straight into shaping Noble's policies for the following year. More parent feedback at a parent leadership series event, just like the one you are at now. This one is a parent advisory council at Spear. This one is a board meeting, a CPS board meeting. And the next one is a trip from Springfield where parents had a short amount of time to connect with elected officials in the hallway on their way to and from meetings. Lawmakers do stop, listen, and enjoy speaking with parents, and even though they know it takes a long time to get to Springfield. And so they will take that time. And 5 minutes can make a huge impact, although it's a short amount of time. These are some common opportunities for sharing your story verbally, and they may pop up in this spring, and that'll be probably virtual now. Have any parents in this room, in this space, been to any of these activities? I do see some people have put it in the chat, so thank you for sharing.
Yes, I've gone to Springfield 6 times.
Wow.
Gary Comer College Prep.
Yeah, I've been to Springfield with Kip Bloom.
Awesome, awesome.
I've been to Springfield also with Mansueto and Johnson, and I've also done the board meetings, and I've stood in front of legislature's office in the snow and rain with other parents. So it is what it is this year. I'm ready.
Thank you, Ms. Shields. Thank you.
I was supposed to go to Springfield this year, well, last year, uh, but then COVID hit, so we weren't able to go, and that really messed me up. I was so looking forward to going
Well,
because
thank you
I
all
like,
for.
I really like that Noble takes the time to listen to parents, and I feel that if I was able to go to Springfield, then they would surely listen to me.
Yes, ma'am. Well, the opportunity is, it'll just change. Like we just have to adjust to what life is now. But we'll make those adjustments and we'll be in touch with everybody who's ready to advocate when that opportunity does arise. So if we were to say, like, so there are times where we have elected officials, small meetings, and if we say from 1 to 5, 1 being not comfortable at all and 5 being very comfortable, how would you feel about sitting with an elected official and talking to them now at this time?
Oh, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Do you want me to say it or should I just?
Everybody's typing in the chat, so that's awesome. So listen, we have a room of ready parents, and I love it. Okay. So this video is just to give an example of what that looks like that I'm going to share. Hopefully you all can hear it.
Good morning, Representative Ortiz.
Hi, good morning.
My name is Jasmine Rosales. I work for the Noble Network of Charter Schools, and thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you taking the
We can't hear it. I can't.
I can't either.
Yeah, the sound went off. I think when she hit mute, it went off.
I'm sorry.
Bill, I have read through the bill just a bit, but would you be able to tell me a bit more as to why it's important to you?
Yeah,
why
absolutely.
I should vote yes on this bill?
Yeah, so I think for me as someone that votes and as a person of color,
Yes.
it's really important for me because I grew up in an immigrant family that couldn't vote. So that idea of civic duty and civic engagement wasn't instilled in me. And I feel like if that had happened at my school, then that tradition of like always coming out to vote would have been instilled in me earlier on. And I know you were a college counselor
Yes,
at Back of the Yards High School. So I know you know the power of like instilling these just like these values in our students early on.
Absolutely. I mean, I was a college and career counselor and I worked with young kids, but I'm also a first generation American. So, my parents are residents and are not able to vote. So I really want to make sure that our generations after are able to come out and vote. And I think that this bill would really allow more of our students of color from communities of color, first generation communities to really get out and vote. So just want to say thank you for taking time out of the day to coming down to Springfield to advocate for this bill. So thank
Absolutely.
you.
So does that mean we can count on you to vote yes for SB 1970?
You know what? I believe yes, you can count on my support.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so as this room does not need any pumping up, I don't think everybody's ready to go. So
I have a question.
Yes.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I have a question for everything. That's who I am. So I just feel like I had spoke with Mr. Davis the other day, and I feel what is really important in the Black and brown communities, as I have an interracial child and my daughters are Mexican. Some parents aren't able to teach them that special need that they need. And I feel that teaching them how to do their taxes or teaching them how to make sure they have good credit as high school students, okay? Making sure that they know what credit is, making sure that they know what taxes mean, making sure they know all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Like I'll teach my kids and my husband will teach my kids how to change the oil and change a tire. But I think that there should be a class to help students who are in high school when they're getting ready to go to college to learn how to know about their credit.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Ms. Velasquez. And these are definitely things that as parents and as advocates that we can always look into providing as a holistic, program and programming within the schools. And
Yeah.
so as we're doing this tonight, we can't change the world in one night. But what we want to do is
Gosh, we're going to change the world soon. We're going to change.
absolutely, absolutely. And that's what this is about, being able to advocate and find your voice and to find that concise messaging that, because like I said, you won't always have all of the time in the world to be able to express what you're trying to say. But when you have that concise messaging and you can let somebody know how passionate you are about a topic within 3 words or a few words or a sentence, that's how powerful your voice can be. And I really appreciate your feedback tonight. We don't have much time, so we're just gonna roll through the next few slides. And I really want to stress to you all, like, you all get it. So it's preaching to the choir right now. I really, really, I love all of the feedback, and I've appreciated.
Oh, it says
With
we
you
got
all.
57
Yeah,
seconds.
we're that's okay.
Thank you, Ms. Bell.
No problem. So, when we want to show what phone calls can do and how following up with your elected officials can make a powerful message. I want to make sure that you all fill out the survey, and we're also going to have a question on there about the lunch and learns, and that's where we can really dive in and talk about some more of these topics and how we can advocate and really cultivating that story, your story. And again, that is not just for the purposes of advocating for Noble. When you go on a job interview, when you're out here in your community at community meetings advocating for the right things within your community, when you're advocating for yourself at your workplace, all of these things can come in handy. And having this skill set to be able to form a concise story and to share your messaging in a way that is easy to understand